All right, we are ready.
Okay. It's 1 o'clock. I'm going to call the August 16th Board of Commissioner meeting to order. We are going to start out with a prayer from Commissioner Wyatt and the pledge from Commissioner Ballard.
Gracious Father, we thank you for this opportunity once again to gather together to carry out the governance of this county. Give us wisdom and understanding to do the right thing always and to glorify your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Leslie, roll call, please.
District 1 Chairman John Black,
Present.
District 2 Commissioner Gary Heberlein,
Present.
District 3 Commissioner Bill Sarkella is absent. District 4 Commissioner Roger Ballard,
Here.
District 5 Commissioner Joe Wyatt.
Present.
Thank you, Leslie. Moving on to additions, corrections, and deletions to today's agenda. If there are none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt today's agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt today's agenda.
Support. We have a motion from Commissioner Heberlein, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to corrections of the meeting minutes. If there are no corrections, I'd entertain a motion to approve our meeting minutes from August 2nd.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, support from Commissioner Heberlein. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Correspondence you would have received from Jody yesterday. We will start out in commissioner reports with Commissioner Wyatt.
Well, Chairman Block, I have nothing to report. I went to, with Gary and I went to the San, no, we'll do that in,
You can do her now. That's fine.
yeah, we'll wait in committee meetings. Yeah, I've got nothing.
Okay, thank you. Roger?
Last Tuesday, I attended the Flint Township meeting. Not a lot going on there other than decisions on road gravel and brining. BOC Township, I went to last night. Their big topic was the ballot language for recreational marijuana licenses. A petition was initiated and they got enough names on it. So that will be on the November ballot. Elk Township, I'll be there tomorrow in Peck, doubleheader, Elk Township and the Peck Village meeting. Marlette, I went to, or City of Marlette, I'm sorry, went last night. Their big news over there is they finally found a full-time school officer that will be starting on September 5th. And on opening day of school, they will have an officer in both schools. So that they were pleased to have that in place. They've been working with the school system to kind of share that job. And I believe that's about it.
I have a question for you, Roger. You
Sure.
mentioned the township had for recreational marijuana
Mhm.
licenses.
Right.
What does that mean?
There's about five or seven different licenses that are involved in this
Mhm.
that will be on the ballot
Mhm.
for various portions of the process there. It's going to be on the ballot because there was a petition to get it on there. So
Is it a variation of recreation you'll use, or is it recreational use as one of the licenses?
this is strictly for
Just for
recreational,
recreational? So
nothing to do with medicinal.
So when the recreational came in,
Yeah.
the state created a licensing process where a municipality could opt out completely from any of the categories, or you could opt into any one of the categories. And the categories may be a grow operation, a processing operation, a dispensing operation, a transportation operation.
Right.
Okay,
So a municipality, if it so choose to allow a grow and processing operation, would clearly have to allow a transportation operation, but they could decline to provide a dispensing operation.
But there was also the option for the citizens to petition to get put on a ballot. And that's what
okay,
happened.
because they opted out previously.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so this is a
This is
new,
strictly due to the
Got it.
petitioning.
because most of them opted out of everything.
Yep.
And this could happen anywhere.
Okay.
So. That's it.
And just one more comment, Roger. The news that I'm reading, pretty much thumb wide, this concept of putting full-time officers in schools seems to be,
It's catching on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're going to see a lot.
And that's statewide. Yeah.
Where's the funding coming from that usually?
They're sharing it, the schools and the municipality.
Good. I myself had a conversation. I discussed that with you, Roger, a constituent from Delaware Township, had some questions about Delaware Park. That is all I have for commissioner report. Commissioner Heberlin?
Yep, I'll keep mine short. As you know, last month and again today, we talked about the sewer trap from the ARPA committee for the sheriff department. That looks like that's moving forward, and also talked briefly about the dog kennel situation, and we've moved that forward in the ARPA committee. I did spend, obviously, because I grew up as a farm boy and grew up in 4-H and FFA, I spent most of my week last week at the Sanilac County Fair and 4-H Fair. And I got to tell you, the 4-H kids, the kids that are part of the Sanilac County Fair and the FFA, they do a tremendous job, and we've got some great education going on for kids and crafts and cattle and things, and that they put their heart and soul into it. And it builds character, it builds leadership, and it's good to see so many kids involved in our local community with those projects. So.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, at this time, I'll ask Nathan for administrator's report.
Thank you. As some of you are aware, so you may not be, the cement work has been completed at the recycling center. They've got some nice pads laid out in front of the baskets. It'll be a couple of weeks before that'll be able to be utilized. They've also got part of the driveway up to the building was cemented as well. So
That takes what, 28 days or something like that?
24 days, yeah, 24. So it's going to be a couple weeks, and then they'll open that up. Right now, they've got traffic kind of rerouted behind the recycling center. I think is it Thelma Street maybe? That goes over there that people can utilize for recycling. So again, I got some information to Eric, but to reiterate, the household hazardous waste project will be September 7th at the fairgrounds from 2 to 6 p.m. So if any of your constituents reach out, that information will be going out in the county news, I believe, this week. So
Do you have a flyer on that you could email to us?
yep,
That we
I can
pass on?
I can, no problem.
Appreciate it.
The tank removal project has been fully completed. As you can see at the sheriff's department, they've got the cement work done. They had to do a little more cement work than they anticipated with the removal, but that is completed and everything's back in order now. The budget, it continues to come together well. Been working with Christy, our finance director. Numbers are projecting in a very positive manner still. So once, my plan is to hopefully in the next 2 weeks get a rough draft of what we're looking at for a proposal to you guys, see what you guys think, and then we'll go from there on that. I was contacted recently about setting up a brownfield committee meeting. There's been a committee that hasn't met for a little while. There's a site, it's a former gas station next to the Sandusky Elementary School. And it's been a little bit of an eyesore for quite a while. And the state was leveraged to try to do something with it because it is a contaminated site. However, the contamination is capped. There's like a layer of clay that has the contamination capped. So the state's not deeming it like something they need to move on immediately.
It's actually a pocket, if I heard right?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
can't get anywhere
It
this
can't go
way
anywhere.
and this way.
Yeah, it's capped. So Carl Asentowski from Economic Development reached out, as well as Dave Faber, and asked if there was some concerns. I believe Gary was contacted. The safety issue, because the vegetation's growing up there, and as people leave, come and go from the school, it can be a busy corner during the school time. So they're worried there could be an accident there. So I'm going to try to get the brownfield committee together, see if maybe we could utilize some funding to get that cleaned up there.
Are you talking about cutting the weeds down?
Well, can I explain a little
Yep.
further?
Yep.
I don't mean to butt in on your story.
You're right.
I received a call from the school, and I mentioned it in our last meeting, probably 6 weeks ago. So I know Dave Faber has been working, our city manager, has been working extensively on that, trying to get funds to do that. And they backed off for another year just because there wasn't enough money to disperse for that. So I talked to Dave at length quite a while on the phone, and he said, let me get a hold of Carl Asentowski and see if there's something we can get through the brownfield. And so what's gonna happen if we can do a temporary on it, like Nathan just said, and maybe next year, the city of Sandusky can get funds to cover the whole thing, and they'll go in and finish cleaning up. But it's not only an eyesore, it's a liability issue because it's grown up so much that you have to almost pull out onto M19 to get by. So with that said, I've talked to both Carl Ostentowski and Dave, and they said, maybe we can do a temporary, like Nathan alluded to, clean that off, take the layer of cement off there and plant that in the grass seed because it can't expand. It can't go anywhere because there's a pocket of clay all the way around it. And if we could help out our township, not township, but Brownsville, and we could do a temporary and have somebody come in and clean it up. And then down the road, a year from now or 2 years from now, when we get the money from federal grants to go in and finish cleaning up. And I think it's a good move. And, you know, Carl and Dave have been working hard on it. And I know.
We're not looking at developing the property. We're just looking at
No.
cutting the brush back.
But the landowner has to agree to that too. So
And it sounds like the landowners in agreement. It's a unique situation because you look out there and you think it's the city of Sandusky. I guess technically it's Watertown Township. So where that spot isn't even, I think Dave was doing some work because as he deemed it has been an eyesore for the city of Sandusky and the schools there.
So
I think he was hoping he got money through, not ARPA, what's the word I'm looking
Eagle
for?
or whatever.
Eagle, yeah.
who owns the property?
Local business owner owns the property.
Well, I mean, I don't know, it sounds almost like it could be a blight issue. So go through Watertown Township's ordinances and
I don't want to comment anymore.
Okay.
I know it's been a long haul.
let's
Let's just leave it at that, okay? Because I don't want
we're not looking at developing it or anything. eh?
to. Right.
It's been an eyesore for decades.
If anybody can get it done, Dave Faber and Carl Ostentowski, I mean, they forgot more than what we know, we'll ever know, you know.
Yeah, so that's that. At the next, we've got a department head meeting the first week in September. I'll be looking to, at that point, remind department heads the policy as it relates to filling vacancies. And with that, also reminding them if they have something that needs to go before the personnel committee, them or somebody in their office, that the expectation is they would be there to explain it to the personnel committee, because it's pretty tough for the personnel committee to sort it out without an explanation of some sort, or it's just left to the committee to sort it out. There's no explanation.
What's the date of that meeting?
That is September 6th.
What time?
That'll be 10 a.m.
Don't make up a time, just so I don't sit there on time.
11. Yeah, it's all right.
Correct. And then we did get our projections, I guess, from the increase. As I told you guys, they were looking at an increase in the state revenue sharing. Our estimation is about $58,000. Most counties saw a nice little bump that the state was doing. So there's been some discussion amongst counties as to how they're looking to utilize that funding. A lot of the discussion has been worker retention incentives, which kind of coincides with what we were looking to do this year with some of our union contracts, capital improvements, fuel increases. I think, you know, the funding that we get will align with all of those things. So there's been, like I said, a lot of discussion amongst counties, but essentially that money will be going to a lot of the things you would think offset some of the increases that counties are seeing with employment, fuel, et cetera. All right.
Nathan, was there much of an issue with contaminated soil around the underground storage tank?
No,
That's
everything
good to
came back
hear.
good. Amazingly, yeah.
Well, every year we had it tested, or might have been every other year for leaks.
Oh,
They did a
okay,
vacuum test on it, so.
good. Yeah, I was waiting, and then Nick from Building and Grounds said they got sent out and everything came back good, so that was positive.
Saved a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Nathan? Hearing none, Nathan, thank you for your administrator's report. At this time, we'll move on to public comments pertaining to today's agenda. Are there any public comments pertaining to the agenda today?
When he was saying about that lot or whatever, I've been at the school board meetings and the school's looking to expand their parking lot. And they did talk about maybe thinking about buying that, but the reason why they didn't want to buy it is because of those tanks in there. So just so you know that if that was cleaned up, the Sandusky School might be interested in buying that lot.
It's good information. Thank you.
I just have a question on Elk Township meeting. Where and when exactly are those? Does anybody know?
Elk Township.
Okay.
Let's see, they moved it. I don't have the calendar in my head. Theirs is tomorrow night at 7,
At 7?
but that's not the regular date, but it is tomorrow night at 7. And it's at the fire hall, Township Hall.
Okay.
The entry's on the east side of the building.
Okay, thank you.
Should I have your name, please?
Wednesday, 4th Wednesday.
Ma'am,
Is it the
can I have
fourth?
Your name?
Wendy, amazing.
Thank you.
Any further public comments? Okay, hearing none, we're gonna move on. We have an interview for a Safe Partnership Millage Board. Marjorie Ross, is she here? She's not online either. We don't have anybody on, do we?
No,
No.
Okay. All right, well, she's not here. We will move on. So we have appointments to the board. Moving on to the Safe Partnership Millage Board, we have one person to appoint, which would be Marjorie Ross. At this time, I'd entertain a motion for the partial 4-year term appointment.
so moved.
Support. We have a motion from Commissioner Ballard. We have support from Commissioner Heberlin. Is there any discussion on the topic?
I don't think we've ever not appointed someone for a vacant position. Right? We left it open, but I mean, it's been open for a while, right?
Has it?
Yeah, months. And a couple months, I believe. But this particular individual, God bless her, she's been on several boards. But
Don't she currently serve on the transportation board?
No.
Sanilac County Council on Aging, Sanilac Transportation Board, working for the human development.
you know, she's a nice lady and, you know, she's been certainly serving her community, but she's had to be removed from a couple of boards already. The problem is that there's no contact with her for long periods of time. And you can't move to get another board member. And if you're familiar with boards, it takes a lot to remove somebody, a long time, like you had with the, what was it, the planning commission? It takes a long time. And that planning commission vacancy and that problem actually was a problem for Fremont Township and not having ordinances reviewed because they didn't have a quorum. So I'm a little concerned that there may be a problem in the future with this individual because of the most recent track record of the last 3 years on board meetings. But let's face it, nobody's applying for these boards. I just wanted to let the board be aware of that.
So with that said, and that's good information. I know it's hard to bring that up.
It is hard to
At a
bring
public
that.
meeting, I get that. It'd be hard for me. So would you mind, you made the motion, right? Roger, you made the motion. Would you have a problem if I made a friendly amendment to table that motion until the next?
No, I'm glad Mr. Wyatt brought that up,
Okay.
actually.
I think most of us know her. I
Yep.
think
Yeah,
it's probably good.
it's one of those
Refreshing.
sensitive subjects
It is.
and topics.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea to table.
Okay, so you accept Gary's friendly amendment to, we're actually not going to table this. We're going to refer it, to our next BOC meeting, which will be the first BOC meeting of September. And you support that, Gary?
Yes.
Okay, so all in favor of the amended motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. It is referred for 3 weeks.
Chairman, I applaud you with using the proper nomenclature. It's not tabled, you're right. Tabled means we'll pick it up today.
Right.
Yeah, we're not.
I tried to do my job, right?
I'm telling you, I really appreciate that.
Not saying I always do.
Only human.
Very good. And thank you, Joel, for bringing that up. That is good information. And, as I think to myself about these boards, it may be wise for us to revisit, how are we advertising these? Are there more avenues to reach out to the community to try to find individuals that are seeking to serve on these boards? Because it's an extremely important aspect of our government. I think what a lot of people don't realize is we may have a lot of authority at this board, but we take a lot of recommendations. There's a lot of work that happens at the committee level. And so it's important to have good participation from studious residents on committees. So,
And the committee is where it starts. That's where it all starts.
yep.
Well, it's funny, we've got the Fremont, the Liberty Wind Park. And, it took a lot for people to all of a sudden, get a fire lit underneath them, right? And one comment I remember that a lot of people voiced was, I thought somebody was on top of that, right? I thought there's somebody doing that. Isn't there some government function that's taking care of that? Isn't there someone that's looking after that? Or isn't someone emptying my trash or taking care of my,
I heard at the gas station, he did that. How come he's not doing it, right?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we're living in a time where there's not enough people to make your donuts in the morning or give you your coffee or anything. I mean,
And we could go without donuts, not coffee.
Whoa.
We have to have coffee. But these boards serve important functions and we cannot go without good representation on those boards. So Nathan, maybe we can have a discussion about how we're advertising those and we'll dive a little deeper. Very good. Thank you, everyone, for the good commentary. Moving on to general resolutions, we have a resolution honoring Marcia Matson for years of service. Gary? Marcia.
Roger, would you rather read this? You
Nope,
worked
go
with her?
ahead.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to give you the opportunity. Whereas Marcia Matson has retired from Sanilac County with over 27 years of dedicated service, and whereas Marcia began her career with the county October 22nd, 1992 as a deputy clerk for the Sanilac County Construction and Land Use and Soil Erosion and Sediments Office, and whereas throughout her career as a public servant, Marcia provided excellent service and quality work and gained the respect and admiration of her colleagues, contractors, and the public. And whereas Marcia demonstrated her extensive knowledge of building codes and environment, Great Lakes and energy, Part 51 imparted that knowledge with both character and integrity. Whereas Marcia is now able to spend more time with her family, friends, and of course, watching, listening to the Detroit Tigers. Now, therefore, it be resolved that Sanilac County Board of Commissioners does hereby extend to Marcia Watson a heartfelt appreciation for her dedicated efforts and many accomplishments during her years of county service, and offers its warmest wishes for health and happiness in her retirement. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the proceedings of the Sanilac County by the Sanilac County Board of Commissioners on this day, 16th of August, 2022.
We have a resolution presented from Commissioner Heberlin. Is there support?
Support.
We have support from Commissioner Ballard. Leslie will need a roll call vote.
Commissioner Heberlin,
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Wyatt,
yes.
Chairman Bluff.
Yes. Resolution is carried. Marcia was not able to be here today. I know Jody's going to make sure that she gets this. Okay, thank you, everyone. Moving on now to committee reports. We will start with Commissioner Heberlin.
Okay, I'll let Commissioner Wyatt talk about our meeting with the veterans this morning. And I don't have any other reports other than we had our ARPA committee meeting this morning. We finalized a few things. We're moving forward with that. And John, you chaired that meeting, so I'll let you talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, I'll elaborate on that. So good information for everyone here to be aware of. We're looking at these applications for ARPA. One thing the ARPA committee did do today is, we kind of set the applications down and made sure that we were looking at the usage of these funds from a big picture perspective of fiscal feasibility for the county moving forward, the potential of paying off debt to, create a situation where we would save taxpayers, a lot of interest and also capture some money back that we could use in general fund throughout the year. So that's a conversation. Everybody kind of has a job and a task to do over the next 30 days before our next meeting to bring that information back to provide some recommendations. But there was some movement on some of the grant applications, and that would be related to the boiler room addition. We still need to replace the boilers in the building. We need somewhere to do that, and we've identified a small area outside of the current maintenance room that could be added on to create a space for the boilers. So that's something that Nick's gonna move forward on. We are also looking at the construction of the animal control facility. The ARPA committee has recommended that project move forward in a manner of, as long as it's contingent on receiving the state funding for the other half of the project. So the ARPA committee's moved it forward. I've reached out to City Manager Dave Favor to see if the city would provide a letter of support to the state for our project, to hopefully speed up or incentivize the state to try to provide those match funds that we're looking for. Moving on to the storm trap sewer debris collection, that topic was approved by the ARPA committee and will be on the finance agenda in 3 weeks for approval. And then further, there were a couple others we didn't take any action on, but the information technology request, Nathan is working with our information technology director to try to identify a few items. And I believe at our next ARPA meeting, we'll see a few worthwhile items come out of that that will likely be approved. So that is all I have for ARPA. Does anybody have any questions?
No, I just want to add, John, too, that the conversations you've had and I've had with Dave, that dog building that runs into our sewer, great, no
Yeah.
problem too. We just found that out.
Yeah.
Not our sewer, but city sewer.
All I have, Roger.
Oh, I attended the DTF meeting on the 8th. Parks, we are still trying to fill a full-time office manager position out there. I just reposted that and ran another ad in the paper. What else did I go to? Community mental health. On the 4th, I attended our second morning-long orientation and got some lessons on how that whole system works. There's a lot to take in with that one. But it's very interesting, and I'll tell you, them folks down there are very dedicated, and they continue to fill their staffing shortages that they've had. And that's about it.
Okay, thank you. Joel?
Veterans Millage Board met today with 3 people, and Shannon discussed her budget. There was an increase in the budget in a couple of areas, one of them being for flags and markers. Added, I think, an extra 1,000 or 2 to that.
Mhm.
And they do make an effort to buy American-made flags. Who would have thought, right? Of course, it costs a little bit more, but that's all right. And then also in the burial, what do you call it? Funding, right? They're looking to bump.
Burial
it up.
cost.
Yeah, so there's a lot of hoops that individuals have to jump through in order to receive some funding, some federal funding to offset the cost of burials for a veteran who was involved in an actual declared war. And among other things, you've got to have all kinds of proof of the amount of money that you have per year. What was the word that she used? Not real assets, but essentially you got to have less than like $40,000 in assets.
Yeah, because some of those people,
Yeah.
all they're getting is Social Security. You
So
know?
I think
And
they're bumping that up.
I don't want to jump ahead of you or tell your story, Joel, but I think that cost, that line item
Mhm.
is only $1,000 for burial. Of course, that don't hardly cover anything.
I want to say it was less than 1,000. They were bumping it up to 1,000. I might have, yeah, right there. So they're looking to go from 40,000 to 50,000, but it's a very nominal amount. Because she was saying, where can you get anybody cremated or buried? I mean, for $1,000. I mean, I see billboards that say they do it, but who knows?
Base fee, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure by the time you get out of there, it's.
That's about it.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Wyatt. At this time, we'll move into unfinished business. Considering there is none, we will go into new business. And if we are short our Finance Administration Chairman Sarkella, so if someone would like to read these motions, that'd be great.
No, go ahead. No, you're
I was wetting my finger.
good. You're fine.
So we're gonna start right here.
FA 121
All right.
22.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of current claims for 2022 identified on the accounts payable report dated August 9th, 2022 for the general bank account in the amount of $218,082.23.
Support.
We have a motion from Vice Chairman Wyatt, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Moving on to FA 122-22.
Budget adoptions, amendments, and appropriations and transfers. Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following amendments and establishes the following accounts as listed below.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wyatt, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 123-22, approval of additional general fund bank account checks charged to July 2022.
The Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of additional general fund bank account checks charged to July 2022 as follows.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wyatt, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 124-22, authorization to fill vacancy, Parks Commission.
The Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby authorize the Parks Commission to post and fill the Evergreen Parks Maintenance Supervisor position at a pay grade 5, step 1.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wyatt, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 125-22, authorization to connect to municipal water system, Parks Commission.
The Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes Lexington Park to connect to the municipal water system at a cost not to exceed $69,062.50 with funding from ARPA funds of $34,000 and millage funding of $35,062.52.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wyatt, support from Commissioner Heberlin. Is there any discussion on the topic? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 126-22, award and authorized bid tree removal, Parks Commission.
The Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes King's Stump Grinding for the purpose of tree removal, grinding of stumps, and processing of wood into split firewood at Lexington Park at a cost not to exceed $8,100 with funding from the Parks millage for immediate approval.
Support. Give it to Gary.
Okay, that was gonna be hard to call. I got a motion from Commissioner
I don't
Wyatt,
care who supports that.
support from Commissioner Heberlin. Discussion.
Yeah, I want to say one thing real quickly. I know Roger has been the head of the parks for a long time as Jim Barham and other people have. And I come on this committee, in January, Roger? On the
Yeah, this
Parks
year.
Recreation Committee. And I have to tell you, they are really professional. They vet things to the infinite. They don't ask for something they don't need, and they've really built these parks. And if you ever get a chance, maybe some of you camp in the parks, our parks in Sanilac County are some of the best and well-kept and friendly and cheap, really. And so if you ever get a chance to camp out or just to go and visit the parks, they've done a tremendous job. And you know, I'm the latecomer and the newbie, but obviously looking back and seeing what's been done over the years, they put a lot of work in them. And I know Jim and Roger both are usually on the phone every day or at the park. So we really appreciate that. I want to thank you.
Heading out there today. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that.
Well,
And our parks are not cheap. They're less expensive.
Cheaper than some.
so I had the pleasure of working with a couple of dudes in St. Clair County, and they're like, yeah, we're going camping. Where are you going camping? Oh, we're going camping in Forester. Great. And they were very happy with all the new amenities there. And then they're going camping next month to Delaware. So it gets around, right?
There's no camping at Delaware.
I mean,
Evergreen.
Evergreen, rather, sorry.
Good. Good to hear.
Soon there will be though,
Maybe.
right?
Maybe.
Before you leave, you said you were gonna make that
I'm
happen.
hoping. That's my goal. That's my goal.
Roger, is this King stump grinding, is this Ben King from the Marla
Yeah.
Kingston area?
Yep.
Okay, this is curiosity of mine. Any further discussion related to FA 125-22 or, I'm sorry, FA 126-22? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We will move on to FA 127-22, award and authorize the purchase of a washer extractor, Sheriff's Office.
The Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes commercial laundry service the bid for the purpose of purchasing a 45-pound commercial washer extractor at a cost not to exceed $10,025 with funding from the inmate commissary funds.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wyatt, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion on the topic?
I have a discussion. We have Lieutenant McConaughey rather, here. Could you explain how the inmate commissary funds gets funded?
Well, it's through purchases of commissary products through Stellar Services, as well as phone service. Collect calls, video visitation, all the things that there's a fee. We get reimbursed a percentage back to those.
So you get thrown in the pokey, you gotta pay while you're there. And while you're there, if you want a Snickers bar or a honey bun, you gotta pay for it. Gotta pay for phone service and the like. And that money goes into the commissary fund, which is then used to pay for the equipment and services that are required to house the inmates in the first place. That sounds like a good deal.
Show your support. No.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
You don't want to show your
Yes.
support.
That was a valuable question.
No.
I kind of had an idea of how that
Okay.
operated, but it's good to know. So that was a good question, Commissioner Wyatt. Is there any further discussion related to FA 127-22? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. This will take us into general public comments. Do we have any general public comments today?
Got one. This will be short. Just as a concerned citizen, it's been brought to my attention that there's a homeless person going around town. He's driving a bike and he's a Furby. I don't know if you've seen him around town,
Oh, what?
a Furby.
Oh, I know. Okay, I know, I don't
He's got
know.
a horse's tail hanging out of his rear end and he's a 30-some-year-old man. And then sometimes it's a blue fluffy tail with a cape and a mask on. And I heard he's on the sex predator list. And I don't know if there's anything in our community. We have one like that, we're gonna have more. And I'm concerned about our kids driving with their parents, seeing this person riding around town and think, oh, isn't that cool? I want to be like him. And I know there was one instance where he was driving down a side street and he was back and forth on the street and the car finally stopped and he ran right into that car and said, oh, my neck, you guys seen that, didn't you? It sounds like he's a mental health person and he needs to be picked up and evaluated and put into somewhere or take him to the edge of town like Gunsmoke if they don't come back. I just wanted to make you aware, we do have a person like that in our town.
Okay.
And as a community, I don't think it should be allowed
Okay.
or looked into.
You're speaking specifically the city of Sandusky.
Yeah,
Okay.
he lives here in town.
Have you talked to the
He's a
chief of
squatter.
police?
No, I have not yet.
I would agree with Commissioner Heberlein that Brett Lester would be the absolute best person. to
Yeah,
talk
that would
about.
be really your first call you should do.
Yeah, but he is, and he's squatting apparently over where the old theater is, up there in an old house at the top. And I know this person that lives at the bottom and they heard some noise up there when they went up there to check out because nobody's supposed to be up there. He was against the door and wouldn't let him in. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you for letting us know.
No,
Say at least he has clothes on.
well, right now,
We have
he
one,
might be riding a bike
we have
naked.
one in town that's naked, so.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I just had a question on when the Save Council Board meets and what are the responsibilities? Is there paperwork or something that I could?
So I'm on the Safe Council currently myself, and I believe our next meeting is next Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning. Give me 1 second and I can verify that for you.
So when I'm the village board, you go to all of the meetings?
Yeah, they have regular meetings, the Safe Councils, right, Sand Lake Area Violence Elimination. And they have regular meetings. They utilize another organization to facilitate different services that are provided. Some of the services provided are a safe house for women. I believe they help facilitate some, not safe houses, but some areas of safe refuge for both genders. As far as for paperwork involved, not necessarily, but they're always asking for assistance in looking at either grant funding or fundraising or just some extra help in processing the services that they process. Yeah. There's what, 7 members on that board? Something like that.
Yeah, it's the BOC chairperson, the sheriff, Will Morris, Bryant Wilkie, Sherry Lancott.
Is Brad Lester on that board?
No, Jamie Dawes is on that board. But the meeting is, it's at 8:45 next Tuesday at the Community Mental Health Building, and that's the new building with the big green roof. If you walk in the front door, there'll be someone there that could certainly guide you, because you won't be able to find the meeting room yourself. It's gonna be a little bit of a maze.
I'm interested, so you can go to a meeting and see what it's about before.
That would absolutely be a wise choice, to attend and see what it's all about. And if it's something that you're interested in, clearly we have a vacancy that we're looking to fill. So, any further public comments today? Hearing none, we will move on. We have no closed session. We have no approval of closed session minutes. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support. We have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, support from Commissioner Huberling. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 1:42.